Welcome to Good Game Spawn Point, the show for gamers by gamers. I'm Hex.
I'm Barjo.
And I am Darren, data analyzing robot for the ruthless extermination of noobs.
Coming up on the show, we help the hero of Hyrule save the world one day at a time in The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask.
The name Majora comes from an ancient Brazilian tribal society called the Marajora that once flourished on an island near the mouth of the Amazon River.
Oh, Darren, popping out the facts today. You're a facts machine.
Affirmative, Barjo.
We're also going to operate some heavy machinery in Construction Simulator 2015.
That gives me some ideas for a spot of renovation around the studio.
Oh, maybe not, Darren. Maybe you should just do your challenge instead.
All right. Spawnlings, fire up those brain cells because it's time for Darren's challenge! This week I'm asking you this. In the game Journey on PS3, if you acquire all the scarf upgrades in the game, what is your reward? Answer at the end of the show!
Oh, I know this one,
Oh, don't spoil it, Hex.
Is it Rocket Boots? I hope it's Rocket Boots.
It's not Rocket Boots, but now it's time for news with Goose.
What Rocket Boots?
As if why would there be Rocket Boots in Journey?
Why wouldn't you have Rocket Boots in any game, ever?
It's a valid question.
Thanks guys, Goose here with all the news from around the gaming world. A player known as Pangaea Panga has finally beaten his own custom Super Mario World level after 3 years of trying. The level was the third in a series of ridiculously hard custom levels known as the Item Abuse Trilogy. He claims finally beating the level was the result of 3 years of off and on work, while he devoted almost half of the last 2 months solely trying to beat it. Seems like a good use of time. A team of Sonic fans have released a playable demo for a Sonic game that was cancelled almost 20 years ago. Sonic X-treme was originally planned as a Sega Saturn game, scheduled to come out in 1996, but it suffered various development issues and was eventually cancelled. However, the fans managed to get their hands on the game's source code for a demo shown at E3 and have recreated the first level. More levels are expected to be recovered and released in the future. And that's all the news for this week. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Goose. All right, time to review Construction Simulator 2015.
Well, wait a minute, Barjo. Darren's not here. We can't do the review without him.
Beep, 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 beep. Now, I'm afraid I can't let you two review this game without the appropriate safety equipment. You'll find your safety gear under your seats.
Oh, of course.
Oh,
Darren, I don't think this really goes with my complexion.
safety first, Barjo. Now, prepare for construction! Wob, wob, wob.
All right, Darren, calm those dubstep circuits. I don't think that particular montage really captured the spirit of this game.
Oh.
Points for style, though. Construction Simulator involves no dubstep, but has you taking on contracts and working through a list of mini objectives to complete a project. So you may have to excavate a hole in the ground and then deliver the specified materials to the construction site.
I think calling this game Construction Simulator is straight up misleading. After 10 hours of playing it, I didn't construct a single thing. It's more like Construction Material Delivery Simulator.
Yeah, affirmative. I calculated that at least 90% of your gameplay involved simply buying materials, loading them onto a truck, delivering them to the construction site, and then taking them off the truck.
I know, right? And once all the materials are delivered, the construction happens automatically. You occasionally do something a bit more construction-y, such as pouring concrete, or using a big crane to put walls into place. None of that is much fun though, and because all the construction happens automatically, it's a bit of a cop-out.
Yeah, especially since other games do construction really well, like, of course, Minecraft and Space Engineers. You know, when I heard we were reviewing this, I actually got really excited to flex my creative muscles and build some cool buildings, but sadly there's none of that here.
Well, it isn't called Architect Simulator, so perhaps we are being a bit unfair on that front. But even so, what you do get to do is so boring. Just sitting there, slowly moving things around, or slowly digging a hole. It's just so methodical and tedious and robotic. In fact, being a robot, Darren, I'm sure you'd probably actually quite like it.
Well, I am quite accustomed to performing mindless, repetitive tasks, like talking to you, Bajo. But even I found this game very dull. The game is also part business management sim as you work towards building up your construction company. As you progress, you can buy bigger and better vehicles and equipment to take on more complicated and profitable jobs. Eventually, you can also hire workers and additional foremen who you can assign to do the jobs for you. It makes for an extremely basic business management game, however, with very little depth.
To be honest, I did have more fun once I had a couple of workers to just do everything for me. It meant that I could go read a book and have a cup of tea while they made me money. Okay, I'll just assign you to do that job, Mr. Construction Man. Okay.
So basically, you enjoyed the game the most when you weren't playing it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, we did have some fun in the multiplayer mode. There's a pretty big open world you can mess about in with up to 4 players. And with all the various heavy machinery to play with, we had a few lols.
Get out of my way, Bajo!
Whoa! Watch out, watch out, watch out!
Oh,
Oh!
you ruined it.
Daz the Builder.
Oh! Watch out! Oh, this is so frustrating. Just trying to do my job.
You're doing it wrong. Doing it wrong. Doing it wrong.
Bajo, you should be fired from construction. You really do have to make your own fun though, since actually playing the game properly is still pretty boring, even with friends. We should wrap this up though. Bajo, what are you giving it?
Well, I didn't really have much fun here. I think this is worth 1 out of 5 stars.
Yeah, I'm giving it 1 out of 5 as well.
All right, you two, it's time to answer the spawnlings questions at the spawn point desk.
Okay, let's go.
Oh, leave behind your safety gear.
Okay.
Fold it neatly, Bajo. Neatly. Close enough.
Alrighty, Badge, let's kick things off this week with this one from Ruby, who is in Coral Cove, Queensland. Were Mario and Luigi born with moustaches?
Well, that's an interesting question, Ruby, but I'd have to guess no, they weren't born with moustaches. Baby boys typically aren't born with any facial hair, and boys don't start growing it until a bit later.
So we'd have to assume that unless Mario and Luigi have some kind of super-powered facial hair, then they wouldn't have had their moustaches at birth.
And there are actually baby Mario and baby Luigi characters in a few games, and they don't have any moustaches.
Oh, that's true. So there you go, definitive proof that they weren't born with moustaches.
Although I suppose they could have just shaved them off because they wanted to look like the other babies and blend in to be part of the scene.
Well, that seems kind of unlikely, but I guess it's a possibility.
It's a possibility, that's all I'm saying.
While we're on the topic of Mario's birth, let's go to this one from Josephine in Eastwood, New South Wales.
I'm going to start an online blog about this.
Oh, cool.
Mario, Luigi, moustaches? Big question mark.
The truth revealed.
The truth revealed. Facial hair for the plumber pair. It just writes itself. I'm not even writing, it's writing it. Who's doing this? How old is Mario? Is Minecraft famous? If yes, how famous? Bajo, say this. Equals the bracket percent. Hold the
Well, Josephine, if you just mean how old Mario's first game is, well, that's a straightforward enough question. He first appeared in 1981's Donkey Kong, which would make him 34 years old?
Yeah, 34 years old. Oh, but if you mean how old is the actual character, well, we have no idea, really. I don't think Nintendo has ever given him a specific age.
Well, we could make a guess. I mean, we know he's at least an adult in Donkey Kong, so let's assume he was like 30 in that. So 30 plus 34 would make him about 64 today. Mario 64!
That's why Peach baked him a cake in that game. It was his 64th birthday. But wait, so if he was 64 then he'd be 73 now.
Oh, well, that's assuming that he actually ages at all. I mean, he certainly doesn't look like he's aged much over the years.
Yeah, so what, he was born completely grown up? Oh, so maybe that means he was born with a moustache. Oh, my mind is blown. It's all making sense now. Oh. Darren, have you heard the conspiracy?
Bajo, you're obsessed. You have to move on to Josephine's next question.
Okay, Darren.
It's a fair point. Okay, moving on to your other question, Josephine, which was, is Minecraft famous? And I'd have to say the answer is definitely yes.
As for how famous, well, I don't know if there's a precise measurement of fame, but let's go with very, very famous.
Yeah, not only is it one of the best-selling video games of all time that has its own convention, but it's also bust through into pop culture. Almost everyone these days has heard of it, and they're making a movie out of it, and The Simpsons even did a parody in their intro.
Yeah, you know when The Simpsons do a parody of something you have done, then you've reached fame. You've hit the big time.
Yeah, for sure. For now, let's move on to this one from Lillian, though, in Shearwater, which is in Tasmania. Could you please tell me the name of the game you reviews early in January this year, which was a sim builder type game, but starting at colony stage, I think. You both said it was quite hard. I just cannot remember the name of it. Thank you. Well, Lillian, I'm pretty sure the game you're thinking of is called Banished. Can we get that name on the screen, please, editor? There you go. But you could only get that on Windows PCs, I think. Yeah.
That is correct. And yes, it is super difficult. Failing in Banished is more of a matter of when, not if. There's always something that's going to come along and cripple your little colony.
Yeah, it's brutal. But hopefully you like it, and good luck with it, Lillian. Moving on to this one now from Liam, who is in Sippy Downs, Queensland.
Hi, Good Game SP. I was wondering if Amiibo will work on the regular 3DS. P.S. You guys are awesome. P.P.S. Darren is not a noob. P.P.P.S. Butter, do these faces. 100%. And Hex, do these. Thanks, guys. Well, Liam, that's sort of a yes and no answer. So sadly, at the moment, Amiibos will only work on one of the newest 3DS models because they have a built-in Amiibo reader sensor thingy that the older models just don't have.
But Nintendo do have plans to release an attachment for older 3DSs that will let you use Amiibo.
They haven't said much about it though, so we don't know when it will come out or how much it will cost or anything like that. Nintendo just says to stay tuned for more information.
Well, let's move on to this one from Rocco, who is in the World of Tanks in Queensland. Hey, Good Game, I'm just wondering about two things. One, is there going to be a portable Xbox console like the PS Vita? And two, is World of Tanks coming to Xbox One? Thanks, and Banjo do these. Thanks. Well, Rocco, I'm not actually sure about that, but maybe Darren has some special insider information.
Let me get him on the phone.
Hello.
Hey, Darren.
Hello.
How's it going?
How can I help?
I've got a question for you, Darren. Would you like to hear the question? It is, we're just wondering if you have any insider information on any upcoming Xbox handheld console.
Well, that seems unlikely. The head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, has said quite recently, and I quote, "I don't think we'll do a dedicated handheld gaming device."
Well, that's fair enough, I suppose. The handheld market is a pretty tough one to crack, and Nintendo dominates with their 3DS, while the PS Vita struggles to put up a serious fight, and the Vita is a great handheld.
Indeed.
Affirmative. Phil did, however, say that he'd rather focus on Windows phones and tablets. And of course, there's always going to be all sorts of quite powerful portable PCs and tablets which will be able to run PC games on the go. So while there might not ever be an official Xbox handheld, there'll almost definitely be some kind of portable device running on Microsoft software.
Oh, well, thanks for that, Darren.
Anytime.
As for if World of Tanks is coming to Xbox One, we're happy to say that yes, they just recently confirmed that it will be coming out sometime this year. It'll also let you carry over any progress you made on the 360 version, and even let 360 and Xbox One players play together, which is a great feature to see.
Yeah, I wish more games would let multiple consoles play together, but anyway, let's go to this one from Lachlan, who is in Eltham North, Victoria.
Hi Hex and Barjo. 1. Please tell me if Gran Turismo 7 is coming out on PS3, and if it is like real-life driving and has speed limits and traffic lights. 2. Can you get Terraria for PS3 in Australia? P.S. Darren is a noob. See ya, Hex, do these, please. Darren, you there? Darren?
Affirmative.
Got a noob update for you. That's about the 3,000th time you've been called a noob this year, just so you know.
Well, if you recall, Barjo, earlier today, Liam from Sippy Downs said I am not a noob, and I think I know who's correct.
Well, I just report the facts, Darren, because I'm a journalist. I just report the facts, so you guys can work it out.
That's quite funny.
Okay, well, sorry to say, Lachlan, but from what we've heard, it seems very likely that the next Gran Turismo is going to be exclusive to the PS4.
Indeed. We haven't heard much about it, but based on comments made by the developer, it doesn't sound like they're working on a PS3 version.
As for if it'll be like real life with speed limits and traffic lights, I'd say probably not. That's not really the kind of gameplay Gran Turismo usually goes for.
Yeah, it's much more focused on racing as fast as possible, rather than driving and obeying speed limits and stopping at traffic lights.
There's a small chance, I suppose, that they could add an open world section with cops and road rules and that kind of thing, but that seems pretty unlikely, to be honest.
Yeah, but you can indeed get Terraria for PS3. I think it did get a disc-based release, but that could be hard to track down now, so your best bet would be just to download it from an online store.
But on that note, we're actually out of time for this week. As always, if you've got a question for us, then why not go here and send it in?
Let's go back to the studio, Hex.
Yeah. I love the studio.
Me too.
The chairs are comfy.
Aria.
Alright guys, the Zelda games are some of the best games out there, and part of the reason why the series is so successful is because they're willing to mix up and change the formula. Over the years, we've seen the iconic fields of Hyrule replaced with sailing the ocean in Wind Waker, and soaring through the clouds in Skyward Sword. But the biggest shake-up of them all had to be the time-bending madness of Majora's Mask.
The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask was released back in 2000, near the end of the Nintendo 64's era. It never received the same iconic status as Ocarina of Time, but it remained a fan favourite for many. And now it's been remastered for the 3DS.
The young sword-wielding Link remains the hero in this adventure, but it takes a decidedly bizarre twist early on. Link is pulled into the strange world of Termina by a mask-wearing prankster. Then Link finds himself transformed into a Deku creature. But the worst news of all is that the moon is crashing down and will destroy the world in 3 days.
Yeah, safe to say, it was not a good day for Link. After the fantastic 3DS version of Ocarina of Time, I was really looking forward to this, you guys. And the updated graphics, wow, they're nice on the eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot easier to lose yourself in big worlds like this when they take the time to paint everything with crisp new textures. But we should talk about the gameplay though, because there's a lot to get your head around.
Affirmative. The series' normal formula has Link exploring dungeons, solving puzzles, and battling monsters. And that core gameplay is still there in Majora's Mask, but they've also added in a big focus on travelling through time and magical masks that can change Link's form.
Yes, at any point, Link can pop on a different mask and gain new abilities. The first is a Deku mask, which turns him into a kind of living plant. Plus, he can launch out of plants on the ground and glide along on little flower copters.
I love flower copters, there should be more of them in games. Plus, I also like the little details like how he's shorter in his Deku form, so he has to jump up to reach door handles.
Naturally, Link gathers extra masks throughout the game. Some, like the bomb mask, simply give him extra abilities, while others let Link pass himself off as different races, like Gorons, gaining their skills in the process.
I was impressed how much extra variety these masks added to the gameplay. I'd often need to switch them out, floating over large gaps as a Deku, then switching back to regular Link to shoot arrows.
Ah yes, the classic burning arrow shot, so good. Even more than the masks though, the way it messes with time is what really makes the game unique. That 3-day countdown to the end of the world is always ticking away, and the game regularly reminds you that you're running out of time. Plus, the moon is always hanging in the sky, taunting you.
Yeah, talk about freaky. The way he just grins at you, I was afraid to look up half the time.
If you let the 3 days run out, then it's game over. Luckily, you can rewind time whenever you want with your ocarina. Playing the Song of Time will transport Link back to the start of the first day. However, doing this also robs Link of all his money and many of the items he's collected.
Oh, yes, watching everything disappear was so painful.
Totally, I broke all of those pots for rupees and now they're gone. Admittedly, you can visit a bank and save your money before you do time traveling, but I kept forgetting that. Come on guys, I'm trying to save the world here. I haven't got time to go do banking.
Well, I think another really clever thing about the time traveling is that it really allows you to get to know the world and its citizens. They're all just going about their business, but because I kept reliving the days, I'd get to know each person's routine.
Like all good Zelda games, solving some puzzles will require serious legwork as you tease clues from conversations and try out various items. You surprised me actually, Barjo. You breezed through those effortlessly.
Yeah, just good practice.
All right, Barjo, let's see if you can make it across this path.
No problem. Here we go.
It's okay, Barjo. I can tell you the solution.
No, Darren, I've got it. Don't worry. Okay, here we go.
Well, maybe you just need more practice.
We don't think any less of you, Barjo.
Hey guys, look! Kerry O'Brien over there!
Where? Kerry?
All right, Barjo, let's see if you can make it across this path.
No problem.
Nice!
Well done!
It's easy, no sweat. No sweat.
You're really good at this.
I'm very good at this game. Nailed it, totally without cheating at all.
Oh dear, I'm noticing a disturbance in the space-time continuum.
Don't worry about that, Darren, tell us more about how the clock works in the game. We'd love to hear more of that.
Well, the game's ticking clock adds some real urgency to the adventure as you try to finish off difficult dungeons before the time runs out and forces you to reset it.
Yeah, you're right about that, Darren. There was one point where I got to the end of a dungeon with only 5 minutes left before the world ended. But I still had to beat the boss before I could rewind time. Most stressful boss fight ever.
Smarter bosses like that are one of the small changes that have been made to balance the gameplay, but there have been a couple of big changes as well. This 3DS version adds a very handy ability to save the game at any of these statues.
Purists, like myself, would argue that these additions make the game easier than it was originally intended. But on a portable system, it's a logical addition.
Yeah, I mean, for example, I don't think I'd be very happy if I ran out of battery without a way to save. Link's Notebook has also been upgraded with more detail on each quest and the times they occur.
We played this mostly on an older 3DS and it worked totally fine, but we also had to go with a newer 3DS which has the nub stick which helps with camera control.
I'm just so glad they remade Majora's Mask. It may not be as lengthy as some of the other Zelda games, but instead it's a more unique and personal journey, and it still feels fresh today. I'm giving it 4.5 stars out of 5.
Yes, any way you look at this, it's pretty incredible, and it's how remakes should be done. I'm giving it 4.5 out of 5 as well.
Sadly, that's all the time we have for this week. But would you like to find out the answer to today's challenge?
Affirmative.
At the start of the show, I asked you, in the game Journey, if you acquire all the scarf upgrades in the game, what is your reward? And the answer is a special white robe.
Yeah, it means you can glide for way longer. It's awesome. Next week on the show, we're going to Kamehameha in Dragon Ball Xenoverse.
Plus, I believe we'll be due for another round in the Spawn Point League.
Oh yes, I've got my eye on the prize, Darren.
I'm ready, Barjo. I'm always ready.
You better be ready.
Until next time, may all your games be good ones. Hex out.
Barjo out.
Darren out.
I'm warming up my thumbs,
Oh, yeah?
warming up my brain.
How do you warm up your brain?
You just go like this.
Oh, I can help with that.
Oh, yeah.
Charging my laser.
Hot hat.
Whatever,
Hitting brain.
we do some of all sides. Ocarina of Time is a reflection of the video game from 1987. I know everything.